The Department of Defense is facing nearly $500 billion in automatic spending cuts. And Georgia's congressmen say that means huge job cuts across the military, including the Air Force.
These cuts are a result of the 2011 Budget Control Act that allowed Congress to raise the national debt ceiling in exchange for spending cuts in the future. But now lawmakers are trying to find a way to pass new legislation before January 1st to keep the military safe. $1.2 trillion in automatic spending cuts will kick in on January 1st, 2013, unless Congress finds a way to stop that trigger from going off.
Congress is going to have to make decisions that the country comes before politics.
The only way you're going to get this solved is by Democrats and Republicans sitting down and hammering out an agreement.
And the time is now. Senator Johnny Isakson and Congressman Sanford Bishop and Austin Scott joined Senators Zaxby Chambliss and Warner Robins on Tuesday morning to explain to business leaders what the cuts really mean. They're calling it sequestration. It calls for nearly $500 billion in defense cuts over a 9-year period. It's a result of the 2011 Budget Control Act that allowed the federal government to increase the debt limit by nearly $1 trillion. A super committee made up of 6 Republicans and 6 Democrats from both the House and Senate had a year to come up with a plan to slice $1.2 to $1.5 trillion in spending or accept the mandatory cuts. The clock is ticking and the committee has no plan in place.
If we don't address it, then we're going to be the first generation of Americans to leave this country in worse shape than the country that we inherited.
If the cuts happen, Chambliss says at least 100,000 jobs would be eliminated from the Army and the Marines. And Congressman Sanford Bishop says it's not just military that will take a hit.
The National Association of Manufacturers for Georgia says that it will be 38,700 jobs in Georgia alone.
Air Force and Navy cuts are unknown, but they're inevitable under sequestration.
People are going to have to vote on a piece of legislation that they don't like everything that's in.
And now these congressmen are calling for compromise. Senator Chambliss says he has a plan, but it hasn't been approved. So for now, the cuts will happen unless Congress takes action before January 1, 2013.